Yes, anybody can answer. लास्ट एग्जाम्पल हमने क्या डिस्कस किया था, कुछ रिजल्ट?
That R is a division ring, but R is not a field. Put it this example.
Okay, we got an example of a ring which is a division ring but not a field. So yeah, so we were able to show that there exist such rings which are division rings but not a field. So we know that what kind of examples they are going to be. The problem with the that kind of rings, you can say, is the lack of commutativity under multiplication, because given the commutative multiplication it will just become a field, rest all the properties are same. Okay, so let me start with the next result which we are going to do. So this is the result we are going to prove that every finite integral domain is a field, right? So we are going to prove this one. So before proving this one, uh, okay, so I'll talk about it later, but let's first prove this one. This is a very simple result. So what you have to prove is every finite integral domain is a field. So you will start with a ring which is finite and it satisfies the properties of integral domain, and we have to prove it is a field. So let R be a finite integral domain. Okay, so what do you mean by integral domain? That R is a commutative. So I'm just writing the meaning of the things which we know. So we know it's an integral domain. So that means basically it's a commutative ring with unity and has no zero divisors. Okay, so it's always better to write the things which you already know, so that you get to know the hints. Okay, what property I have to use to prove the required thing. So this is given to me, and obviously finiteness, and what I need to prove that R is a field. So now the question is, what we need to prove that R is a field? What particular thing which we will show, which will justify or which will prove that R is a field? So I'm asking this question from you. Anybody can answer. What we need to prove in order to show it's a field? Because you know the definition of the field, right? For any ring to be a field, what does it require?
Commutative division ring.
Yeah, commutative division ring. So commutativity is there. Okay, commutativity is coming because it is the integral domain given to us. So commutativity we don't need to prove. So what need to prove it is a division ring.
Multiplicative inverse.
Yes, so division ring requires multiplicative inverse because multiplicative identity is already there. It's already commutative ring with unity. So only thing which we need to prove is that every element has a multiplicative, every non-zero element has a multiplicative inverse. If we are able to do that, we will show that it is a field, right? So for that, what I'm doing, let A be a non-zero element belonging to this ring. So all I need to show is that A is having a multiplicative inverse. In other words, I need to show A is a unit element, because that's what the definition of unit element is. Okay, that's the meaning of unit element. The elements which are having their multiplicative inverses, they are known as unit element. So we need to show A is a unit element. Okay, so somewhere we will be using the finiteness, and somewhere we will be using the property that it has no zero divisors. So okay, so what we are going to do is, you construct, yeah, or you can say consider the elements. So A is an arbitrary element considered from the ring. So if I consider the element A square, A cube, A raised to power 4, and so on, right? So I can keep doing that, because by closure law under multiplication, all of these elements will belong to the ring R. Okay, what can I do? Let's be specific. So let me name it a S. Let me name it a set S. So in the set S, what I have taken is all the powers of a square, a cube, a raised to power 4. So since S is a subset of R. So how do you know S is a subset of R? Because A square, all these elements will belong to the ring because it's a ring. So closure law under multiplication is satisfied, right? A into A will be there, A into A into A will be there. So all these elements belong to the ring and S is a subset of R. But we are given that R is finite. It implies S also has to be finite because it's a subset of a finite set, has to be finite, right? You cannot have infinite subset of a finite set. So if the bigger set is finite, its subset is also going to be finite. I hope this is clear up to here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so when you use that S is finite, so look at the elements of S, a square, a cube, a raised to power 4. So since I'm just doing the integral powers, positive integral powers, so I can keep on doing this. But if I know the set is finite, that means after some time, the powers will start repeating themselves. So there will be, the elements will be repeating themselves. So that means there exists M and N belongs to the natural, or you can say positive integers, such that a raised to power m is going to be same as a raised to power n. We are using that, the information that the set is finite. So this has to happen. So there exist two different elements such that the powers are same. So this gives me a raised to power m minus n is equal to 1. Is it fine? Right? This is simple mathematics because that is the integral power and that's how it's going to happen. So this gives me a into a raised to power m minus n minus 1 is a m minus n minus 1 into a is 1. So I further just splitted up the power of m minus n to 1. I have separated 1 plus 1 from it. So accordingly, I am adjusting a minus 1 here. So if obviously you will add the powers, you will ultimately get back m minus n. So this is true. Why these are equal? Because of the commutativity. And why I'm writing it this way? Because that is what it requires for any element to be a unit. Whenever we say an element is a unit, so we say there exists B such that A into B is B into A is 1. That is 1 is a multiplicative identity. Okay, so this is my now B element. So B is A raised to power m minus n minus 1. So clearly B is non-zero because if A is non-zero, so B is the non-zero inverse is there. So you got that A is a unit. You got an element such that this is happening.
मैम
Yes.
बीच में कनेक्शन प्रॉब्लम आ गई थी, एक बार यहाँ से रिपीट कर दो। a रेज टू द पावर m माइनस n इक्वल्स टू 1 के बाद क्या किया?
Okay. So यहाँ तक तो we just used the set as finite property that it is going to be equal. And then we are saying, I just shifted this to this side. So a raised to power m minus n is equal to, यहाँ 0 बचेगा, a raised to power 0, so that is 1. And on further m minus n को मैंने break कर लिया है 1 plus m minus n minus 1 में. तो a raised to power 1 अलग लिख लिया है, a raised to power m minus n minus 1 अलग लिख लिया है, and you know the product of them is going to be 1 because I've just written this is equivalent to this one. Now when this comes in this form, right, a into some element is equal to b,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
element into a is 1. So that element is acting as the inverse. So a is a unit, and what is a inverse? A raised to power m minus 1 is the multiplicative inverse of a. So this proves that a is a unit. So this proves that the ring is a field. R is a field because you started with the set. You started with a set. Which kind of set you started with? This set, and this set you used it finite, and this ring was, you started with the arbitrary element of that and proved ultimately that it is a unit. Now you have to tell me, where did we use this property? I did not mention it, but you need to tell me exactly at what step we used that this has no zero divisors. Did we use it somewhere? Do you think, did we use it somewhere directly, indirectly? I didn't show explicitly, but you have to figure out where we have used. Otherwise तो integral domain का property use ही नहीं हुआ कहीं पे, right? तो integral domain की property का क्या मतलब हुआ कि उसका zero divisor नहीं है, तो हमने कहाँ पे वो use किया है? zero divisor का क्या मतलब होता है? That the non-zero, it does not, if this is going to happen, this implies A is 0 or B is 0. Can anybody identify where I have used this one? We have used it here because when I mentioned B is non-zero, so B is non-zero means what is B? B is a raised to power m minus n minus 1. So it is actually a into a raised to power m minus n minus 2, which is further. So if B would have been 0, if B is 0, this will imply A is 0 or a raised to power m minus n minus 2 is 0. So this further you can split up into a raised to power m minus n minus 3. So this 0 implies either this is 0 or this is 0. So why we are implying that? Because it's a 0, it's a integral domain. If the product of two elements is 0, then one of them has to be 0. So this clearly shows this calculation that if B is 0, then ultimately A will be 0. But A is non-zero because we started with an element which is non-zero. Because हमें multiplicative inverse सिर्फ non-zero elements का show करना होता है, right? So since A is non-zero, तो उसकी जितनी भी powers होंगी वो भी non-zero होंगी. तो इसलिए B जो है exist करता है. We cannot have zero element as an inverse. So ये justify करने के लिए कि ये जो मैंने break किया है और इनमें से जिस एलिमेंट को मैं उसका मल्टीप्लिकेटिव इनवर्स क्लेम कर रही हूँ इस एलिमेंट को, वो एक नॉन जीरो इनवर्स है ऑब्वियसली. तो यहाँ पे A भी नॉन जीरो होता है, B भी नॉन जीरो होता है, तभी द मल्टीप्लिकेशन मेक्स इट 1, राइट? तो उस B को नॉन जीरो जस्टिफाई करने के लिए हमने इंटीग्रल डोमेन का लॉजिक यूज किया है कि अगर B जीरो होता तो फिर A भी जीरो होना पड़ेगा, बट दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल, विल लीड एट अ कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन. इज इट क्लियर? मैंने सिर्फ लिख दिया था, बट आई वॉन्टेड यू टू एक्सप्लोर इट, वाई इट इज सो. ऐसा ट्रिवियली हमेशा नहीं होता है. आपने नीलपोटेंट एलिमेंट्स पढ़े होंगे ना? नीलपोटेंट एलिमेंट्स क्या होते हैं? I gave this as a question in the assignment. Anybody knows the definition of nilpotent element?
अगर कोई ऐसा पॉसिबल
m is equal to 0.
हाँ, मीन्स उसकी कोई पावर, अगर कोई नॉन जीरो एलिमेंट है, सपोज वो खुद नॉन जीरो है बट उसकी कोई ना कोई पावर जो है जीरो बन रही है, तो हम उसको निलपोटेंट एलिमेंट बोलते हैं. तो दैट्स वाई ऐसे एलिमेंट्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं कि खुद नॉन जीरो है बट उनकी कोई पावर जीरो बन रही है, बट इंटीग्रल डोमेन में नहीं एग्जिस्ट करेंगे एज यू कैन सी, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जीरो डिवाइजर्स नहीं होते हैं, बिकॉज उनकी कोई पावर जीरो बनना मीन्स यू कैन ऑलवेज डू इट बाय इंडक्शन. आप इंडक्शन से इसको प्रूव कर सकते हो. आई थिंक हमने ये प्रूव भी किया था, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर, बट दिस इज वेरी इजी टू सी कि अगर आप सपोज कर लोगे कि वो जीरो बन रहा है उसकी पावर, तो अल्टीमेटली यू विल एंड अप एट द ओरिजिनल एलिमेंट टू बी जीरो. आप ऐसे उसको फर्दर स्प्लिट करते जाओ एक एक पावर कम करके, तो वो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन आ जाती है. सो इसमें नीलपोटेंट एलिमेंट्स नहीं होंगे, तो उसकी जो पावर है दैट विल बी गोइंग टू बी अ existing non-zero existing number element, existing element. Yes, is it clear to everybody? Please ask if you have doubt. So what I am saying, ये B non-zero लिखने में हमने यूज किया है R is an integral domain. इसको जस्टिफाई करने में हमने R is an integral domain जो है यूज किया है.
मैम बट ए तो नॉन जीरो गिवन है ना?
हाँ, ए तो नॉन जीरो है. ए तो नॉन जीरो, तभी तो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन आई ना. मैं आपको दोबारा से एक्सप्लेन कर देती हूँ. सी व्हाट वी हैव इज दिस, a इंटू ए रेज्ड टू पावर m माइनस n माइनस 1 इज 1. यहाँ तक क्लियर है सबको?
Yes.
एक मिनट, यही था ना? हाँ, यही है, राइट. यहाँ तक क्लियर है. अब मैं कह रही हूँ कि ये एलिमेंट जो है, अब ऑब्वियसली ये भी है, ये भी ये बाय डिफॉल्ट होगा क्योंकि ये क्या है कम्यूटेटिविटी के कारण। तो ऑल आई जस्ट नीड टू नो इज, क्योंकि जो यूनिट एलिमेंट की डेफिनेशन होती है कि फॉर इफ ए इज नॉन जीरो, क्योंकि ए तो नॉन जीरो होगा ही होगा क्योंकि उसी का हम मल्टीप्लिकेटिव इनवर्स ढूंढ रहे हैं, तो देयर एग्जिस्ट बी नॉन जीरो सच दैट ए बी इज बी ए इज इक्वल टू 1। तो जो ऑब्वियसली जो इनवर्स एलिमेंट है वो भी नॉन जीरो ही होगा ना, जीरो कैन नेवर एक्ट एज इनवर्स ऑफ एनी नंबर, राइट। सो हमें सिर्फ ये शो करना है कि ये एलिमेंट जो है नॉन जीरो है। तो आई एम राइटिंग दिस b is a raised to power m minus 1 is non-zero, where I'm writing this is non-zero because, अब मैं प्रूव करूंगी क्यों ये non-zero है, because if b is 0 it implies a raised to power m minus 1 is equal to 0, it implies, अब मैं इसको फर्दर स्प्लिट अप कर सकती हूँ, a into a raised to power m minus n minus 2, I can do that, right?
Yes.
हाँ, अब यहाँ पे हम यूज करेंगे and the ring is integral domain means has no zero divisor। तो अगर दो एलिमेंट्स का प्रोडक्ट जीरो है, this will imply either a is zero और a raised to power m minus n minus 2 is zero, ठीक है। बट a is non zero क्योंकि वो हमें गिवन है, तो this implies a raised to power m minus n minus 2 is zero। इसको फर्दर फिर स्प्लिट करेंगे, a इंटू ए रेस्ट टू पावर m माइनस 3 इज इक्वल टू 0, एक और पावर स्प्लिट कर लिया मैंने, a रेस्ट टू पावर m माइनस n माइनस 2 को आई कैन राइट लाइक दिस। अब फिर से आप सेम चीज रिपीट करो क्योंकि ये इंटीग्रल डोमेन है, दिस इंप्लाइज आइदर a इज 0 और a रेस्ट टू पावर m माइनस n माइनस 3 0। फिर हम कहेंगे ये तो 0 नहीं हो सकता तो ये 0 होगा, फिर स्प्लिटिंग करोगे, तो ऐसे स्प्लिटिंग करते करते पावर्स कम करते करते अल्टीमेटली लास्ट में a ही बचेगा। जब लास्ट में a स्क्वायर रह जाएगा, ऑब्वियसली पावर कम होती जा रही है ना, यू सी यू स्टार्टेड विद m माइनस n माइनस 1, फिर m माइनस n माइनस 2 हो गया, फिर 3 हो गया, तो लास्ट में ऐसे करते करते यू विल गेट टू a स्क्वायर और a स्क्वायर इज a इंटू a, वहां से फिर से आ जाएगा a 0। तो दैट इज क्लियरली अ कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन, मीन्स आप कुछ भी कर लो वो a इज इक्वल टू 0 पे ही जा रहा है हमेशा, तो a 0 रॉन्ग है बिकॉज हमारा ओरिजिनल एलिमेंट जो है नॉन जीरो था। सो वो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन हो गई to the fact that a is non-zero। तो contradiction हो गई, that means our supposition is wrong, so b has to be non-zero, क्योंकि अगर b को 0 लेते हैं तो we get a contradiction। इस contradiction में हमने ये use की है information r has no zero divisor, so that means I'm just trying to tell you कि उसका integral domain की property कहाँ use हुई है, क्योंकि अगर आप बाकी proof का part देखो तो उसमें हमने कम्यूटेटिविटी यूज कर ली है, फाइनाइटनेस यूज कर ली है, रिंग विद यूनिटी ऑब्वियसली यूज किया है, तभी हम मल्टीप्लिकेटिव आइडेंटिटी की बात कर पा रहे हैं। बट इंटीग्रल डोमेन होना कहाँ यूज हुआ है, वो यहाँ पे यूज हुआ है कि ये जो एलिमेंट b है ये नॉन जीरो होगा। तो वो अब मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया है कि b क्यों नॉन जीरो होगा, क्योंकि b 0 लीड्स टू अ कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन। नाउ यू आस्क मी इफ स्टिल एनीबडी हैज डाउट। Yes, anybody has doubt still?
No, ma'am.
Right? So this implies a is a unit क्योंकि आपने उसका एक नॉन जीरो मल्टीप्लिकेटिव इनवर्स शो कर दिया है, and that implies your ring is nothing but a field। So आपका रिजल्ट क्या प्रूव हो गया, finite integral domain is a field, right? This is what we have just proved। Okay, so let me ask you the question now, is the converse true?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you can give me the example.
Reals.
Reals, so reals is a field but reals is not finite, we know that's an infinite set। Okay, any other example? Q will work?
Complex also.
Yeah, complex will work. Q is a field, but we know the set of rationals is not finite. Complex number is a field, but it is not finite. So ठीक है, finite वाला रीजन तो समझ में आ गया कि finiteness नहीं होती है, मीन्स हमारे पास infinite fields exist करते हैं, तो हर field finite नहीं होता है, हमें उसका पता चल गया। But now the question is, what about integral domain? So can you see whether R is an integral domain?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Whether Q, C, are these integral domains?
Yes.
Yes. So they are integral domains, but the only thing is the converse is not true because they are not finite. So this means the result means, I'm not saying this is the proof, but these examples lead us to think that every field is an integral domain. Right? अब हम प्रूव करेंगे ये एवरी फील्ड इज एन इंटीग्रल डोमेन मीन्स इसका जो हाफ कॉन्वर्स ट्रू है एवरी इंटीग्रल डोमेन इज अ फील्ड वो भी गलत है एवरी इंटीग्रल ओके पहले चलो उस पे बाद में आते हैं मतलब अगर फाइनाइटनेस निकाल दी जाए इसमें से सो आपसे पूछा जाए इज इंटीग्रल डोमेन अ फील्ड is every integral domain a field then also the answer is no so what is the example can you give me an example of an integral domain which is not a field integers right
Yes, ma'am.
right so integers is an integral domain but because वो finite नहीं है अगर वो finite integral domain होता वो field हो जाता but वो infinite है means we get an example that it's a infinite integral domain but it's not a field so is integral
It's
domain a
also
field
not a division ring.
sorry
Division ring भी नहीं है.
हाँ डिवीजन रिंग भी नहीं है बट ठीक है आई एम आस्किंग फॉर द क्वेश्चन ऑफ फील्ड ओके सो फाइनाइटनेस हटाते हमें पता चल गया कि हमारे पास एग्जांपल्स हैं कि फाइनाइटनेस हटते
एक बार ये दोबारा बताना
इंटीजर्स वाला एग्जांपल ओके आई विल टेल यू पहले हम ठीक है अभी हम कन्वर्ट्स पे नहीं जाते पहले हम इसी रिजल्ट को एनालाइज कर रहे हैं दैट एवरी फाइनाइट इंटीग्रल डोमेन इज अ फील्ड सो व्हाट आई एम आस्किंग इज इफ आई रिमूव द वर्ड फाइनाइट I just state the result every integral domain is a field if I write this every integral domain is a field then what is the answer to this question no this is not true every integral domain is not a field so what is the example जब भी हमें डिस्प्रूव करना होता है तो हम एग्जांपल्स ढूंढते हैं तो जो रिंग ऑफ इंटीजर्स है रिंग ऑफ इंटीजर्स एक इंटीग्रल डोमेन तो है बट वी नो इट्स नॉट अ फील्ड बिकॉज द एलिमेंट्स आर नॉट हैविंग देयर इनवर्सेस we know that Z is not a field the multiplicative inverses do not exist unity है but inverses नहीं है so this is an example of an ring which is integral domain but not a field तो ये तो इस रिजल्ट का हमने एनालाइज कर लिया कि फाइनाइटनेस यहाँ पे जरूरी है फाइनाइटनेस हटाते ही हमारे काउंटर एग्जांपल्स मिलने शुरू हो जाएंगे अब हम बात कर रहे हैं उसके कॉन्वर्स की कि इसका कॉन्वर्स ट्रू है कि नहीं तो व्हाट इज द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ द कॉन्वर्स ऑफ दिस स्टेटमेंट The converse of this statement is stated like every field is a finite integral domain. ये इसका converse का statement है वो भी हम क्या कह रहे हैं true नहीं है no the converse is not true right so for that we had these examples reals rationals complex ये सभी fields हैं but ये finite नहीं है तो the converse is not true बट नाउ आई एम आस्किंग ठीक है फाइनाइट तो नहीं है बट क्या ये इंटीग्रल डोमेन्स हैं राइट तो कॉन्वर्स तो नहीं ट्रू हुआ उसके लिए एग्जांपल हमने दे दी बट फर्दर एनालाइजिंग इट ठीक है कि फाइनाइटनेस नहीं है बट आर दे इंटीग्रल डोमेन्स तो द आंसर इज यस ये फाइनाइटनेस नहीं है बट ये फाइनाइट नहीं है बट दे आर डेफिनेटली इंटीग्रल डोमेन्स सो दैट इज गिविंग मी माय नेक्स्ट रिजल्ट every field is an integral domain so what I am going to prove is this theorem or you can say this is a result every field is an integral domain is it clear what we are going to prove and how we lead to this result
Yes.
ठीक है तो अभी हमें क्या प्रूव करना है फिर then who will tell how we are going to prove this one anybody can explain rough idea yes भूमिका
इसमें फील्ड दिया हुआ है मतलब एवरी नॉन जीरो एलिमेंट यूनिट होगा और कम्यूटेटिविटी गिवन है तो हमें ये प्रूव करना है कि अगर a इंटू बी जीरो है तो उनमें से एक एलिमेंट जीरो होगा मान के चलते हैं कि ए हमारे पास यूनिट एलिमेंट है, मतलब उसका इनवर्स एग्जिस्ट करता है। अगर ए इंटू बी 0 ले लें और दोनों साइड प्री मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं ए इनवर्स से, फिर एसोसिएट मतलब फिर बी 0 आ जाएगा।
हाँ, that is the proof. Basically, it's the same thing which we already proved actually. हमने एक result prove किया था. Actually वो मैंने एक assignment में question डाला और हमने class में भी थोड़ा discuss किया था कि जो unit element है वो zero divisor नहीं हो सकता है कभी भी. A unit element can never be a zero divisor. और converse भी होता है. A zero divisor can never be a unit. So if R is a field, it implies R is a commutative ring with unity with every element, every non-zero element, sorry, is a unit element, right? So let A is non-zero, A belongs to R, it implies A is a unit element. So now we want to prove that A is an integral domain. So suppose A into B is 0, where A belongs to R and B belongs to R, right? So what we just supposed is A is non-zero. So that means A inverse exists. So A inverse से multiply करेंगे हम दोनों तरफ से. So when you multiply with A inverse on both the sides, what you get is B is 0. Any element multiplied with 0 is always a 0. B is 0. So this implies what? That B is not, or A, you can say A and B are both not zero divisors, because हमने उनका प्रोडक्ट को जीरो एज्यूम किया था. उनमें से A भी नॉन जीरो है और B भी means if one of them is non-zero, the other one has to be zero, right? So that means this is a ring with no zero divisor. कोई दो नॉन जीरो एलिमेंट्स को मल्टीप्लाई करके आप जीरो ला ही नहीं सकते हो. So this is actually, in short, this result is that a unit element can never be a zero divisor, and vice versa. Its converse is also true. A zero divisor can never be a unit element. Okay, this is very simple proof. Because it's unit, its inverse exists, so you multiply with the inverse and you get automatically the other element is zero. So this will show that R is an integral domain, because commutativity already है, ring with unity वो already है, हमें सिर्फ no zero divisor show करना था, वो हमने कर दिया. तो हमारे पास अब ये result prove हो गया है, every field is an integral domain, right? So next we are going to talk about few examples, right? So before that I have a poll to launch here. So let's see how many of you answered this one. So I'm launching questions. You can take 2 minutes and fill the responses. Or I want all of you to work on this. First is q square root 2, right? जो bracket है square bracket में उसमें square root 2 लिखा है. So the statements are very clear. So you take your time and work on this and answer. In between, if anybody thinks he or she is not able to think how to do these, then you can ask me. I'll explain it later. Is the poll visible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
And I will suggest all of you to try these honestly, because it's not going to be evaluated. It's just I want to know how much you are getting. So and do not just guess also, okay? Because then I will not be able to know, and you will also not be able to know whether you know it right or not. So without guessing, try to work out. I'm giving you 2 to 3 minutes and then solve it and then give an answer. Okay, let me know when you're done with it. Last 1 minute I'm giving. After 1 minute, if anybody does not give me any answer, then I'll explain after that. Okay, so I'm just ending this one and then we'll discuss the answers. Yes, so these are the answers we got. Okay, now let me just discuss what were the questions. So the first question was Q root 2 is a field. Yes, so it is a field. So again, these kind of fields are a category of fields. We'll study this when we'll formally start with field theory. So these are coming in the extension of the fields, but right now, without going to that theory also, we can just prove it is a field. So what kind of elements it is having? A plus B root 2, AB belongs to rationals. Are we clear on this? Everybody knows this, that Q square root 2 contains this kind of elements.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what you just need to show for it to be a field is that elements are having multiplicative inverses, because Q is already a field, right? So in Q, every element is having inverse. So the only thing is with this newly added element square root 2, it is an extension of the field, because square root 2 is not a rational number, it's an irrational number, but we construct elements of this kind. So they belong to a superset of the rational numbers. So just to show it's a field, all what you need to do is this inverse exists. Means you need to compute 1 over a plus b root 2. So how you can do that? You can rationalize by multiplying and dividing with a minus b root 2, just like you do in complex numbers, right? So this way you will get a minus b root 2, and in the denominator you will get a square minus 2b square. So this is a over a square minus 2b square minus b over a square minus 2b square square root 2. So you can see this elements also belongs to q square root 2, because this is a rational number, this is a rational number. What kind of elements we are having? This type. So root 2 retains there only. So it's this is rational, we are done, and no need to justify. Everybody knows this is the basic mathematics. A and B are rational, so their addition, their multiplication, their subtraction, this is going to still remain a rational number. This will not convert into irrational. So these are rationals. So you just need to give a justification that the denominator is non-zero, because whenever we are saying inverse exists, so that means these numbers should be defined, and for this to be defined you need to have this to be non-zero. Now this you can factorize again to justify that why this is non-zero, because one of them has to be zero, because again this is having no zero divisors, so one of them has to be zero. So but a plus b root 2 is clearly non-zero, because only non-zero elements we start with. So a is non-zero, b is non-zero. Because what do you mean by a plus b root 2 non-zero? ये एलिमेंट कब नॉन जीरो होगा? जब ए और बी दोनों नॉन जीरो होंगे, और ये ए और बी दोनों नॉन जीरो होते ही ये भी नॉन जीरो हो जाएगा. Right? So when A and B both are non-zero, so this will also be non-zero. So this is well defined. So done. Anybody has doubt in this? That how to prove Q root 2 is a field? Anybody is having doubt, then please ask.
मैम अगर एक भी नॉन जीरो हो जाए तो भी तो नॉन जीरो ही माना जाएगा. A plus
कौन
B
सा?
root 2.
हाँ, means
A plus B root.
either, yeah, either, of course. Yeah, either of them. Either A is non-zero or B is non-zero or both. दोनों non-zero हो या दोनों में से एक, means at least one of them, at most one of them can be zero. So obviously दोनों में से एक भी zero हो गया, the other has to be non-zero. Still you are going to get your answer. Yeah, that's correct. दोनों zero नहीं हो सकते. We should just say A zero, A and B can't be both जीरो. दोनों जीरो नहीं हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि दोनों के जीरो होते ही पूरा नंबर जीरो बन जाएगा. Yes, is that clear? So moving ahead to the next question which I asked was this: what is the number of elements in this?
Not audible.
Sorry? What is the
Ma'am,
number?
you're not audible clearly. Your voice is cutting. Ma'am, your voice is cutting.
Okay, I'm just repeating. We need to find what is the number of elements in this. So how do the elements look like? And how many elements we have in Z3?
A plus iota B, where A and B belong.
Yeah, belongs to Z3. And Z3 we know is 0, 1, 2. So with these three elements, how many elements you can construct of this type? 9, right? There will be 9 elements because each of them is having three choices. So 3 into 3 will make 9, right? So A and B are both 0, so 0 element. Then A is 0, B is 1, so it's iota. B is 2, it is 2 iota. Then A is 1, B is 0, it is 1. 1 plus iota, 1 plus 2 iota. Then A is 2, this is 2. 2 plus iota, 2 plus 2 iota. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 9. So that was a simple question. This contains 9 elements. So is it a field? Is it a field? Z3 iota. Yes, that's a question you need to answer. Is it a field? Yes. So all what you need to show is its inverse exists, right? Okay, so you can work this example out. It is very easy to show this is a field. So few examples which I can tell you is ZP. ZP is a finite integral domain. Yes, am I audible? I'm not getting any response. Okay, let me just finish this one.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Okay, I think there's some problem with the net connection. We are also done with the time. Okay, we'll then discuss it next time, rest of the things, right? So that's all for today. I will upload all the recordings today on LMS. All the previous recordings, everything. I'll upload that. I'm typing this.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.